a webinar this month. We've been carrying out monthly webinars and coaching to those people who were selected for the 9 months coaching. And today we are going to deep dive on data management. I would like to start sharing my screen so that we can go together. Yes, I am now sharing my screen. Starting with the summary and the ending instead of the beginning. I don't think I'm eager to finish, but time will tell. So welcome once again to the Data Management Deep Dive. And my name is Mirra Gui, Director, Owner of Viva Tours and Safaris. And being a tour operator and working with the tour operators, I am sure that I understand what we are all going through. But let's hold on, let's learn much, let's equip ourselves, ready to move on into the other level, because I am sure that the best is yet to come. You cannot live in the valley forever. You have to start moving up. So what is this data management that we are going to look into today? Data management is said to be a guide to peace of mind and visions of security in a world of technology and uncertainty. I take it up again. A guide to peace of mind and visions of security in a world of technology and uncertainty. So what this means is that if we are able to manage our data in the right manner, in the right way, we will have a peace of mind, and we'll also have a security, because in this age and era, and particularly after COVID, we have seen how technology have changed the world. And the world today has become a data world, data becoming the raw material of more and more business processes, and data powering so many things that we do. And to feed this process, business collect and store more and more of this data, but it cannot be of any use if not converted into information. So what is data? Data is simply raw facts, numbers. How many vehicles do you have? How many contracts do you have? How many clients do you have? Words, measurements, observations, or just description of things. How do you describe your client? That is just data. And there's no value of this without interpretation. If you don't interpret it, it remains just as a number, just as an observation. As I said, it's said to be the new currency, and transforming it into information is what adds value to this data, making it more valuable and meaningful for it to become the main asset now and in the future. So if it remains as simple facts, it will not help you. And that is why we hear some people say, oh, I saw it. Yes, you saw it, so what? That remains an observation. But if you're able to add value into it, then what happens is that you'll be analyzing this data and you'll be getting ideas out of it. So you didn't just see. It was not an observation. It was an observation that was analyzed to bring in an idea, to help you come up or make a decision that will help your company. That is the value addition, making data into information. So what is data management? Data management refers to the professional practice of constructing and maintaining that framework for ingesting, getting that data from wherever it is, storing it, mining and archiving it for our use in the business. And it is normally said to be the spine that connects all segments of the information cycle. The spine, why? Because if it is an observation, then you've just ingested. How do you mine this? How do you make use of it? How do you store it? What does it do? Data management allows accuracy. Accuracy, when you add value to that data, then you become more accurate than others who are not doing it. It also allows consistency because you can be able to compare, and doing it another time, you can test its reliability. Additionally, it allows security of data. How are you going to ensure that your data is secure? So the data management will allow accuracy, consistency, and security of data to enable us make informed decisions. And this is by use of that clean data, that which will help us make a change. So we are not just leaving it at the observation level. We are making sense out of it. And when we make sense out of it, that means that we are adding value, making it useful to us in our business. Data management is said to consist of controlling of the data. What do you have and where is it located? In terms of your inventory, what do you own and where is it? Is it vehicles? Is it employees? That is in terms of skills and capabilities. Is it contracts? What is it that you have and where is it located? Those agents, what do you have? It also helps us to protect the data by keeping it safe from harm. I have heard several times people saying that my computer crashed and therefore I have no data. Data management shows us the best practice on this. How do I keep my data secure, protected? It also facilitates access of data. How do I get that which I want very quickly to make use of in my business? Sometimes you ask for something from somebody and the person has it, but takes 30, 40 minutes looking for the information, meaning that it is not well organized. They are not able to access it. And this makes it useless because data is to be used to make decisions. So which data do we require? Very important for us to ask ourselves because today we are having so much data out there and even in our organizations. So which data is required? The first one is from the demand side. from outside there, that visitor, the satisfaction or motivation into using our products, their expenditure, that could be the demand side. We also have the supply in terms of quality and standards of our suppliers, accommodation suppliers. We also look at employment from the supply side. Remember, you get your employment resources, that is the human resources from out there, which is dictated by the power of supply and demand. How many skills do we have? How available are they? The other data that we require is on the attitude of the local community. How do they see us? How do they see our clients? And why are you doing all this? You are collecting all these data so that you can make informed decisions, not just keep data with you. The other data that we would require could be travel patterns and expenditure. Why is this again important? Because you want to compare. You want to come up with that ideal customer of yours. You want to narrow down. You want to know them more. You want to know how to customize your products. So you need to understand their patterns, their expenditure. And here I've given 3 levels of your clients, that is domestic, regional, and international. This will help you come up with that ideal customer for your domestic market, regional market, and international market. We have a CRM, that is a customer relations management. We need data from all their feedbacks. And sometimes ago, until about last year or last year but one, we were so much used to giving clients a form to fill, feedback form to fill. And when they give us this feedback form to fill, when we give them, they fill them and give them back to us. And we would go back and look at what they have given as feedback about the hotel, about that guide, about that car, about that trip, and overall comments. So what else after seeing that your driver was perfect, the hotel needs this, the safari was too long, what do you do with that? So it is important for us to know how to make use of this data. There's also the evaluation, so that we know our advertisements or our promotion programs, how are they working? Are they giving us value for money? I think I've talked too much and I would like your assistance here. So on the chart, please let us know what kind of internal data do you think we would be interested in? Internal data. Just put it on the chart. Your company, which internal data would it be interested in? Let's put it on the chart.
Nothing on the chat yet.
And do we have people in the room? Hey, participants, which internal data do you require? Do we need anything internally?
I see Rita has her hand up. Maybe Rita, if you'd like, you can unmute your mic and you can share directly. Hi,
Yeah,
Rita.
hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Lita.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Rita from Ghana and then Rito Cal Travel and Tours. So I am also looking at uh, the travel patterns and then the customer relationship management aspect because I think with the travel patterns, yes, we have to look at other areas, the domestic and then the regional aspect too. But in my country, I think in Ghana, I think the domestic and then the regional moves more than the international. Well, that's my point of view. And then secondly, to the customer relationship management, yes, we always have to look at customers' feedback. That will boost us to know our weak point and then how we move on. Because without the customer's feedback, I don't think we'll be able to sell whatever we have because they are the reason why we are there. And always we have to listen to them. The more we listen to them, the more we sell and then we correct our mistakes. So I think that's what I so far what I have learned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita.
Mm,
Thank you very much, Rita. Rita has
thank you.
started us off and she has given us some internal, some client, and some supply chain data. She has mixed all of them. And I can see on the chart several other suggestions. From
Yes.
Yvonne, she's saying customer data. Yes, we have the client data there. We have staff data from Julia, which is internal data. We have Elizabeth, who is saying that they would need the supplier data, that is hotels and their classifications, that is the supply chain data there. We have purchase data from Yvonne. This is the internal data. From Francisca, we have the vehicle data. She'd like to know the kilometers the vehicles have done, which will help on when to service the cars. Very, very good, Francisca. That is internal data. From Mary Gikingo, she would like to get a supplier database, which is an internal data. Elizabeth Joe, supplier data, customer data. We have Bridget, airline schedules. Yes, very important is the supply chain data. Festivals and festival calendars, so that we know where to schedule our promotions. That is true, Bridget. She has also indicated that she'd like to know the different classes of hotels and rates, various fleet of vehicles, etc., etc. Yes, all these are the data that we would require. And let's see each one of them. The internal data. This is what you have with you. This is what you can own because it is with you. You're not looking for it from anywhere. You have already, you already have it, but remember, it is in fact form. So for you to make use of it, you have to convert it into information that you can be able to now use that information to get to make decisions. And we have some that were listed by various companies. And what is the data going to give us? Why are we looking at this data? We want to understand this data so that we can gain what we call the competitive advantage. We are looking at data of our resources. This is the internal data. Resources, either tangible or intangible, which is able to give the firm some capabilities to help the firm make these resources useful. Because if you have, for example, employees, they are just resources, but what are their capabilities? What about their core competencies? Because this is what is going to give you a competitive advantage. The supply chain data was discussed, and all those can be any of them in terms of transport, in terms of attraction, activities, destinations, and also intermediaries. Remember, our agents out there are also intermediaries, which can become supply chain data as we are trying to chase them before they become our own data, internal data. The client data, very, very important. We need to understand our clients through the profiles that they have. So why do we require this data? Remember, it is only data that has been converted into information that will help us in business. And we call it informational gold, business intelligence. And the reason as to why we need it is because we need to customize our policies and strategies. Very, very informed policies and strategies. We also need to be able to project, forecast. We won't just do things for the sake of doing them. Planning will also be very, very well done if data is used, both short-term and long-term. The financial proposals. So when you have data that is converted into information, it will help you come up with the right proposals and make the right decisions. How much money do you need to borrow? Have you done your projections, and based on what? It is this data that you need, but data that has been well converted. It also helps us to evaluate our performance. How have we been doing this year? To redress any problems. We have had problems with Hotel X. This is the third time that clients are complaining about them. What exactly? Is it the same problem that they are addressing? So how do we solve this with them in the supply chain? Data is also required to enhance the product, the tourism product, based on the feedback from our clients. Provide more competitive and attraction destination or experience for the visitor. What are they telling us? Remember, we are doing things for them, not for us. And therefore, it is using this data that will help us provide more of what they want. And as a result of this, being able to benchmark our performance with our competitors, and also being able to advocate for new policies in the trade associations. What are you doing in your organization? How are you doing it? What is data saying on the other side? Which policy is this that is hindering you from moving forward? If you do not have data, you cannot go for the policy advocacy. It has to be backed by data. So that is why it's important for us to have and use data appropriately. And these benefits are almost related with why the data is required. You're going to work smart and in a very organized manner. When that client asks for that particular document, in a few minutes, you're able to give back. If that decision needs to be made, you also know how. Smart advertising, security, the standards, etc., etc. I don't want to read through this because you can read by yourself. So where is data? On the chart, if you're still with me, please tell me, where do we find data? Where can you find data? And we said we have internal data, we have the supply chain data, and we have the client data. Where can you find it? In the chat, please.
Not we have via research. And this is by Julia.
Mm-hmm. I'm not able to access my chat. So please read it out for me. I don't know what has happened.
So we're waiting for more answers to come in. So for Bridget is in the cloud, and for Elizabeth, internal data can be accessed through having an organized filing system, be it physical or in a folder in the computer.
Okay. Anyone else ready to tell us where they get their data? Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, you can access all these data from different sources. And particularly when it comes to the, for the internal, yes, you already have it. And if you have a very organized system, yes, Mary there is saying existing client information. If you have a good filing system, then you'll be able to get this. But remember, raw data will never help you. What you need is organized data. Change from raw data, facts, numbers, observations into information. So for the supply chain data and the client's data, remember we talked about the omnipresent strategy that everyone is using. So data is everywhere. Any click of a button, you'll get data. Be it social media, be it on their blogs, be it on in other networks, websites, etc. You will get data. But then, if you're not able to make use of this, the omnipresent strategy will not help you. Because again, remember, you may be overwhelmed. You are looking for clients. So which clients are you looking for? So some of the challenges of data management are the amount of data, which is at least temporarily overwhelming. I'm saying temporarily because some of the information that we are getting now After COVID, we might not be able to access freely. They'll be monetized. But for now, it's overwhelming. Again, the other challenge is in an organization, having data that is in silo form. You have the marketing team with its own data, finance team with their own data. You have the tour operating section with its own data. So they are all working in silos. They are not working together. So do we have a system that will be able to harmonize all these? The other challenge is the journey from unstructured to structured, which can be steep. Yes, you have all those feedbacks from clients. How do you make use of those forms to come up with actual data that is useful, the information that you need? The other challenge is managing the culture, because culture is everything. Are your staff ready for data management? So what do we do with this data? And how do we ensure that data management is done in the right way? This can be done through data strategy. Any data that is not giving you money, any data that you're not able to monetize, then is not needed. And when I say monetize, I mean making decisions that will add value to your organization. And data strategy is how you can use data to achieve your organizational needs. What exactly do you need for your organization? We have seen that data is overwhelming. And if it is overwhelming, then you must be so sure that you are getting what you want. And you can only be able to do this if you first of all define your goals. What do you want? And where do you want to go? Identify where and how this particular data is going to help you. Because again, if you're not sure of what you want, then you'll just be there very busy engaging some assistance to harvest data that is not helpful. Then you need to derive an actionable roadmap. Data strategy is all about the roadmap of using data to achieve the organizational goals. Then after the map, you need to actualize it to data life cycle. And quickly, I can go through the data life cycle. You need to know which data you want to create. What exactly are you looking for? Those particular evaluation forms that we used to give to our clients are data creation. You have numbers there, you have informations there, but they're not of any value if they don't move to the next level of data processing. They need to be entered somewhere, because you can imagine files and files of this paperwork. Then after you process, you need to first of all understand, where do I put this information? Do I come up with a database? Is it an Excel sheet? Is it a well-curated system, ICT system, that is well packaged to store all this? Then after processing, you need to analyze it to find out, is it only that one driver who have problems? Is it that one hotel that has problems? Or is it an isolated case? Then we need to preserve this data Remember, security is critical for the data. It should be accessible, and we should be able to reuse. Remember, we talked of being accurate, being consistent, and secure. That is what the data lifecycle is trying to communicate. Data creation will give you the accuracy because you'll know exactly what you're trying to harvest. Consistency and security also becomes critical. So I'd like to go through two important tools today very quickly to help us understand and know how to make use of data in our organizations, the data management. You will forgive me because I'll not go to the technical bit, that is the IT bit, but I am looking at the management itself, which is the role of the manager. And I leave the IT people to help you with the tools. And one of the tools that I want to introduce is the data excellence model, because we need to understand the framework that build that principle of best performance management and logic of the management cycle when it comes to data. And this excellence model, data excellence model, was compiled by 17 people who came up with the same, including 3 universities: Competence Center, Corporate Data Quality. And from the model, we can see 3 different sections of the model. The first one being the goals, we have the enablers, and we have the results. What kind of goals do you have for your organization? That one will be checked by the business capabilities and data management capabilities. I'll go deeper on these. We have the enablers. Yes, we have our goals. That is where we want to go. What will enable us reach there? And we have the results. How will we know that we have reached? So the goals, which we have here, is business capabilities and data management capabilities. And the business capabilities is referring to the set of skills, routines, and resources required to achieve the objective, the business objectives. What does the company do? Not how. What? And this is backed up by the data management capabilities. Remember, we are looking at data. That is our core business today. And these are the set of skills and routines, resources required to support these business capabilities of what we do through the data management. And here, some examples of data management capabilities includes the data injection, data transformation, harmonization, processing, modeling, and access. So this is helping us support the business capabilities for us to achieve the business objectives. So these are the goals. These are the targets. This is where we want to go, and we must ensure that we have it right in terms of our capabilities, both business capabilities and data management capabilities. The next phase is enablers. And from the model there, we can see different types of capability of enabler, which will help us achieve the goal specified. And the 6 areas there, we have the people, role and responsibilities. We have the performance management, data architecture, data application, data cycle, processes, and methods. So let's go deeper and understand the enablers. Talking about the roles, the people roles and responsibilities, we are looking at the skills that you have as an organization to ensure effective data management and consistent use of data, not only in one section, but across the entire organization. If you have people who are not able to use these data consistently, who do not have the right skills of getting the right data, then your goals might never ever be realized. The other enabler is the performance management, which defines the measure to monitor and control performance of data management. How do we know that we are going in the right direction? How do we measure that tool that we have been given by that IT person? That is an enabler. We have the processes and methods, which are the procedures and standards for managing and using data properly and consistently. Data architecture, the conceptual data model. How does data flow between the applications? As I said, forgive me once again, I'll not go to the ICT technical bit, but if you are keen, you can tell that this bit of the model, the enablers, is technical. The applications, the life cycle of data. And this is what, depending on the size of the company, you either hire or you outsource. But as I normally say, can you control what you don't know? Definitely no. And therefore you have to embrace, you have to know what you employ them to do, what you give out to that party, so that you're also able to measure the performance. And the last bit there is results, business value and data excellence. How do you tell that your goals can be achieved through the enablers? The data excellence, what impact does this data have? What impact does it have? Is it fit for purpose? How is it going to help you by itself? Then there's the business value. Impact of this data on business. The monetization part of it. How is it in regard with your financials, with your business processes, with your customers, and organizational growth? And the reason as why we are going through this data excellence model is to help us get that managerial knowledge of data, so that even if we are to give this role to someone else, we will already have come up with the goals We know what we need. We know what we want. We already have projected the results that we are looking for. And therefore, this enabler is to actually ensure that they carry out the data strategy, as you can see in the middle there, and continuously improve on these particular roles, continuously improve on them so that they can give you the right results. So the next tool that I want to look at very quickly is the data strategy canvas. I know we have heard the term canvas several times. And a canvas is normally used when we talk of a one-page snapshot that is able to help us make decisions, that is able to communicate what we want, that is able to communicate where we are and what we should be looking into. And looking at this data strategy canvas, we can tell that it's divided into 3 layers. We have the first layer, which is need for action, vision, mission and scope, and business value. And this layer, we call it the strategic layer. I'll get into details. We have the second layer here, which is the key capabilities. The key capabilities, this second layer is called the operational layer. And we have the third layer bottom there, code of conduct and transformation. And this is the implementation layer. So let's go through them very quickly. The strategic layer. This defines the need for action, vision, mission, and scope, and the business value. This is where you are trying to define why do you need that data so that you can avoid working so hard on data that might never ever be used. You are trying to save time and cost. The vision. What will be the data's use in future? How are you going to use it? Remember, you're becoming strategic. You don't want to do things for the sake of doing them. The other one is mission and scope. You cannot collect data without knowing the extent, the boundary, and the purpose of this data. So you have to restrict yourself, because we said that it is too much out there. So you also need to restrict yourself to know which data do I need. And finally, you have to explain the value of this data to your business. How will it be contributing to the business? Because again, if you're just collecting data that has no meaning, then you'll find yourself having lots and lots of databases, lots of Excel. Other people have systems that are full of data, engaging assistants, but not making much of it. So the strategic layer is very important for us to fill in that, because it also gives you an idea of exactly what will I be doing, what kind of data do I need. And the second layer that we talked about is the one that we have the key capabilities there, and we called it the operational layer, where we have the key capabilities, the second layer there. And here you're trying to define the capabilities needed to achieve the vision and realize the data use cases. Do you really have the right capabilities? Or do you need to build on them? Do you need to improve on them? Remember, in our model, We talked about the people roles, responsibilities, processes and methods, etc., the enablers. Which technical capabilities do you require? If you look at this, you can tell that these are the enablers. What do you have? Because you cannot operationalize that which you are not capable to operationalize. Very, very important as we are coming up with the data strategy, so that you understand, do I give out this to a third party to do, or do I build my own to carry out? And the last layer there is conduct, a code of conduct and transformation. And we called this the implementation layer. The implementation layer and the code of conduct is describing the future mindset and culture related to data. What values do we have in terms of data, both internally and externally? How will we ensure that our data is secure? How will we ensure that this data is not misused? Very important. And then we have the transformation. Because if you're not able to use this data, if you're not able to make the right decisions out of this data, then it will not be helpful to you. And remember, this canvas is supposed to give you an idea of what you're looking for, what you have, and what you will get. If you look at them clearly, they are very much related. That is the data excellence model and this data strategy canvas. And therefore, it is important for us to make use of both of them as we are going through both of them. And lastly, I want to briefly share about the backup, security, and archiving. And once again, I am not going deeper into ICT. There are those in ICT security. But two important requirements of data management is the backup of the same. Backup of live or working data, reducing the risk of loss of this data. How often is it backed up and where is it backed up? I'm sure the ICT people will tell us more of where and what is more secure than others. And the other one is security regarding to the safety of this data. Who is accessing this data? What rights do they have? To what extent do you let your data, maybe to your employees or to the externals? Remember, we talked of the omnipresent data. Therefore, it is very important for you to know to what level have you given them access. And then we need to consider our archiving requirements. How often should we archive our data? And as I said, the ICT people will be able to assist us in this. So just to summarize what we have gone through today, we have realized that there is data overflow, and therefore there is need to well manage this data and make it accessible. We've also realized that the cost of not doing this data management can be very high. You can imagine someone is asking for a certain information and you know you have it. For example, a simple case scenario. There are these hotels that keep sending us rates, and you have a contract rate. It is in March. It is yet to be fed onto the system. And somebody is asking about how much it costs. They will not expect you to go looking for it. They expect that you already have it at a click of a button. So it can be very costly, particularly remember we talked of the needs of our customers, and we said that one of them is being knowledgeable, and the other one was being responsive, and it could be a phone call, so they expect you to already have it. So it can be very costly not to have data in the right way. And also, again, it is good for us to align ourselves in the right way by having proper data right cycle management, using the right tools and best practices to ensure that we stay afloat and we also are able to match whatever is happening. There are many benefits that are associated with the act of managing data, which will include the ability to find, access the data, understand, integrate, and reuse this data. If it is just raw data, it will never help you. So ensure that it becomes information for you to be able to make use of it. And finally, if data is well organized, well documented, preserved, accessible, and verified as to accuracy and validity, the result will be high quality data, very credible data for decision making, which will save costs and will be easy to share and use in trades analysis. So I come to the end of my presentation, but for the team taking coaching session, I have shared your monthly coaching assignment, which will be to develop a data strategy using data strategy canvas. We will deep dive into that during the coaching sessions. So prepare yourself, start developing your data strategy. That will be done in the course of the month. So with that, I beg to stop there, and thank you very much for listening. And now I welcome questions, comments, or value additions. Caroline, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mary. So yes, everyone, we're open for questions. I see, Susan, you already have your microphone unmuted. Please go ahead.
Oh, is the wood soft?
Hi, Susan. Okay, I think she unmuted by mistake. If anyone has any questions for Mary, you can just unmute yourself and ask her directly. If your microphone is not working, you can use the chat option and we'll read out your questions.
Did I confuse you more? No questions? No questions means it's either well understood or more confusions. So please raise your questions, your concerns. or any other value that can be added into the data management session.
So we have a question from Yvonne. She's asking, with this information, is it advisable to contact these people randomly?
I don't get it clearly. Which people?
Hi, Yvonne. If your microphone is working, you can just unmute and then ask your question directly. With customer information. So contacting customers randomly in order to get more information from them.
Okay, for this, I intend to think that we have two types of customers. We have those who are already ours and the prospective customers. So I guess, Yvonne, what we're asking about is the prospective customers. Am I right? Okay, good. Thank you. Now, the prospective customers, what are you doing to them? First of all, you're not contacting them to get their contacts. You are contacting them to show them that you exist, first of all, and you have what they might be looking for. And therefore, it is only when they are interested and attracted to you that they will now come back to you asking for more information. And as they ask for more information, definitely their information or their details, their data will become available to you. So when it comes to the prospective customer, yours is to market yourself, to show yourself, show your face, and let them be attracted so that they are now able to share whatever they have with you. I don't know whether that is well taken, Yvonne. Yvonne? I'm waiting for Yvonne. Caroline, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I think it's okay on Yvonne's side. And then we just have a small comment from Jane who says she will need to review the PowerPoint to fully understand, I'm guessing the tool, the data management tool.
Okay. Any other question before you're locked out? But then, as I said, if you have a question and you're not able to share it here because maybe you joined late and therefore you're not so sure if it had been answered, after you go through the recording, you can still talk to me. I am available. I have given my contact.
I see first Rita's hand is up. So Rita, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question to Mary. And then we have a question and I guess also a comment from Elizabeth, which I will read after Rita.
The data strategic layer. If you can please go over that one for me.
Please repeat once more because your microphone was muted in the beginning.
Okay, sorry. I'm saying that if you can please go over the strategic layer, that's the data strategic canvas, and then the strategic layer. If you can please go over that side for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. You're saying a strategic player and what?
You raised a topic on I think the last one before the cost of or is it the key capacity? I mean the
Okay, the
data strategic layer. Yes,
The
please.
strategic layer, okay.
Yes, please.
Uh,
That's the vision, mission, and then.
yes, thank you. Now, this is the layer which defines. Let me share again so that
Yeah.
the others can also see what I'm talking about as I'm answering the question. The strategic layer.
Yes, please.
The strategic layer.
Yes, please.
It is a layer that is defining why is it that we need this data. What exactly are we looking for as the organization? Because you have to be very clear on anything that you do. Remember, business is about revenue, and with revenue, it is based the profit will be revenue minus the expenses.
Exactly.
And the expenses there are all the costs that have been incurred. So we are all trying to lower our costings, ensure that we have minimal expenses. And this can only be done if we are strategic enough to know what exactly do we need. What do we need? Which actions do we need? Why do we need data? And to what level, to what extent? Because as I said, many of us are keeping too much data that will never ever be used. So the vision is, what is the future role of this data? Remember, we don't want to keep going back and saying, oh, we missed out on this. And now you ask this person to go back again onto all those folders looking for this particular information. So we have to be very clear on why we need to carry out the data management, the vision behind it, the mission and scope, to what level, the boundaries, and also the value that we expect to gain from this particular exercise. If we are not careful, if we do not have this defined, then we will have too much data that is even adding up, crashing our systems, but then it is not making any economic sense. We must try to ensure that we strategically get only that what we can use. I don't know whether that is clear. Please confirm.
Yes, please. I'm okay now.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you too.
Any other question, Caroline?
So we just have something from Elizabeth. She first says, great presentation. Her lessons learned for her company is that she has too much data that is stored in too many different places. So a great place for her to start is with organizing and evaluating her data. So maybe if you can touch upon best ways to streamline where to organize data so that you don't have it in so many places.
Thank you, Caroline. Remember we said that one of the challenges that we have is having organizations working in silos. And this is how you end up getting data in too many different places. You have data in marketing, you have the accounting people having different set of data of that particular one customer, and you have the same customer, you have other data on maybe the hotels that you have booked them in. So these could be three or so different, and even the logistics team have their own set of data. So what you should try to do first of all is to ensure that you come up with very clear goals. Why do you need data? And this is where the strategic layer comes in that Rita had asked about. Being very clear on what you need for now and for the future, having a very clear scope and boundary on the data that you require will now help you streamline all these and organize them to be available to all. And this, as I said, it is the ICT people to advise on the best way, best systems that will be able to look into all these. Like, for example, there is the customer relations management systems, there is the HRM systems, there are those accounting systems, but if they can be integrated to ensure that the same data doesn't need to be re-entered again, then it will save you time, it will save you money, it will help you become organized. But without, first of all, having the right the right need, or identifying the need, the real need for data, then you will end up having them in different places. Caroline?
Let's ask. Yes. Elizabeth, was that clear for you?
Hello? Yes,
Hi.
yes, this is Elizabeth speaking. That is very, very helpful. I've captured it. And yes, that will be our first task. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So on the chat, we don't have any more questions. So we'll open for maybe 5 more seconds for last round of questions. If anyone has anything to add, please do so now, and then we can conclude the training. And of course, we will share with you the materials via the Google Drive, and you can access the recording and the PowerPoint presentations. And for those who are in the coaching, as Mary mentioned, you already have access to the data management tool that you should start working on for your strategy. So definitely start working on that, and you have all the resources available. And if you need any help, you can just reach out to your coaches. So any more questions? Any last questions? Okay, then at this point, I will stop the recording.